come in also with, a little comment that both the speakers today, Sandeep, Chandna, and Shalini, Singh, to my mind, they are really the torchbearers in improving sustainable practices within organizations and really building incentive-driven models of making companies more responsible. So, I'm really happy that both of you are able to provide these talks and are here to answer some questions. Sandeep, thank you for your talk. And you have a good comment come question from one of our participants, the audience, that in R&D, the research is getting diminished day by day because money is the key requirement for sustained R&D. So, any comments to that? I know that your talk kind of, was relevant to that, but any comments to that?
Yeah, so Minya, I have been harping about this point very often. That is, anything that you do is going to be with a price attached to it. Greenness doesn't come, without some extra expenditure or without some investments. Now, whether we are looking at governments or whether we're looking at, the companies, whenever they are going to be looking at this greenness, there is going to be a cost attached to it. Now, where is that cost going to come from? See, companies are going to spend on R&D. Today, we are also spending a lot of money on, innovation. There's an innovation lab which is set up. So those kind of things, where will the money come from? Whether, if our government is looking at, say, renewable part of it. So where's the money going to come from? Until we have a mechanism. So that mechanism, which I said, is a carbon price. Now, if that carbon price is implemented within the organizations, within the countries, that's a place where the money is going to come from. But to look at this aspect of carbon pricing, and we have to be serious about it. Other countries, UK and other countries have started looking at it, and I think so. We should also look at it from that very positive perspective. Otherwise, all the commitments will just remain as just the words on the board. For the implementation, you need money.
Thank you. Thanks, Sandeep. There's also another quick question, saying that now in the present context that profitability is going down for companies, the carbon pricing in this mechanism, does it still work at Tech Mahindra, or does that also get washed away with the dipping profitability of companies?
No, not at all. In fact, it is playing a much, as I said in my talk as well, it is playing a much important or vital role now, because I have my funds ready, how I'm going to meet my targets. Otherwise, I will have to keep looking where the funds are going to come from. Today, I have those funds and those budgets in place so that I could tomorrow look at, where I'm going to get the solar farms coming in, or where is it that I'm going to do the PPA signed off. So that perspective, I already have the funds in place.
Thank you, Sandeep. We'll move on to the next speaker, Shalini. And, just for the audience here and on FB and LinkedIn and all the other platforms, Shalini, she is the Chief Sustainability Officer and Chief Corpcom Officer for Tata Power. And, right. This is a sector with where diversity is quite challenged. And, besides all her other attributes that Shalini has, she was at Airtel and Accenture earlier at leadership positions. But also she has managed in a company with 6%, where 6% are women, to be not only at a CXO position, managing two huge portfolios, but I feel very proud to say that, a year and a half ago, Shalini managed to convince Tata Power to move entirely towards renewables. Of course, in a staged way, in a gradual way, which is what she's going to talk about, which deserves not just a talk, but really deserves to be showcased within the Indian corporate sector. So well done, Shalini. We are all so proud of you, and here just waiting to hear your talk.
So one of the biggest trials facing humanity is that of fighting climate change. The subject of climate change was central to most conversations in the recent past as we unfortunately witnessed large-scale disasters like the raging wildfires in the rainforest of Amazon and Australia. UNDP estimates that over the last 30 years, 1 out of every $3 spent on development has been lost to extreme climate events. And these real-time events set the context of my talk today. Climate change will continue to be a sad reality and remain at the top of our sustainability agenda. As it impacts all aspects of development, it is also closely intertwined with the social aspects of poverty and inequality, which acts as these threats magnifiers. Given the vast challenge that it poses across the globe, and especially in EU, we are introducing stringent climate regulations aligned to the science-based targets of limited global warming to under 1.5 degrees centigrade compared to the pre-industrial era. This call to action extends to the companies too. And today, I want to share how Tata Power has taken the climate challenge head-on, gone beyond business to include all stakeholders in the journey, and is committed to inspire action amongst peers and society at large through these efforts. I will also share in detail with companies like yours what they can do to be sustainable and make a difference after sharing Tata Power's journey. So, as India's largest integrated power company with presence across the power value chain and largely through fossil fuel-based thermal generation, Tata Power is uniquely positioned to lead climate action and showcase the benefits of the low-carbon economy, both for India and the entire global economy. We got an early sense of the climate change issues and knew that this can only be tackled through the transition to a decarbonized energy model. The first step that Tata Power took was to invest in our belief of purpose-led growth and work towards internalizing the externalities. We created a business case out of sustainability agenda and got the board and leadership consensus on the same. Through this, sustainability became the core of our vision, mission, and strategic intent, and from this emerged the blueprint for a decarbonized energy transition that Tata Power was set to spearhead in India. One of the biggest challenges for us was to get in the buy-in on the plans to curb conventional energy growth, stop investments in non-core assets, and transform Tata Power brand as a renewable-focused, customer-oriented, and an integrated energy solution provider. We are the first Indian utility to commit to being carbon neutral by 2050. We have adopted a two-pronged approach of mitigation and adaptation to address climate change. Our preparedness has been an attempt to building resilience in operations, supply chain, and local communities to changing climate impacts, and be prepared for the unforeseen regulatory issues like carbon tax, technological and market risks that may unfold for all of us in the near future. Our commitment to becoming carbon neutral by 2050 is in alignment to the global mandate of United Nations Sustainability Development Goals number 13, climate action. We have integrated climate action with the business strategy through various important decisions, and some of them are intensifying growth through renewables, zero coal-based investments, augmenting existing thermal power plants to operate at benchmark efficiency levels, retiring coal-based capacity upon end to life, diversification into EV charging infrastructure, solar microgrids, utility scale storage, decentralized generation, and home automation landscape. Evaluating new technologies like green hydrogen, carbon capture is also part of our sustainability agenda. In our quest to be carbon neutral, we have defined our purpose of doing business, which is to energize the energy transition and leave no stakeholder behind. For the same, we have taken important decisions for our conventional business, which may appear hard now, but will be rewarding in future. In order to make the decarbonization journey inclusive, we have been engaging with all our stakeholders to reduce their carbon footprint. Tata Power is empowering its customers to fulfill their carbon footprint reduction mandate by providing low carbon solutions like solar rooftop and pumps, solar microgrids, infrastructure, and running dedicated demand side management programs to save energy. We are also engaging with the society at large through our own unique Club Energy, a resource conservation club comprising of school children of almost close to 533 schools in the country who have educated almost 30 million citizens and saved 31.8 million units of energy and mitigated 28,000 tons of carbon since its inception in 2007. So for any company who wants to set forth its journey on decarbonization and do it the right way, our recommendations are to institutionalize sustainability through both structure and processes and take concrete actions to reduce carbon footprint. So first of all, to institutionalize sustainability through structure and process, it is important to embrace sustainability and bring it in your DNA and make it the way of doing business responsibly. That is possible if one correlates business growth with decarbonization and makes it a part of company strategy, institutionalize an ethos around it that provides strategic direction to business, helps as a keeper of standards to ensure business continuity in these tough times. Aligned to the global mandate on climate action. Now, there are many such global mandates. United Nations Sustainability Goals is one of them, COP25 or SBT targets. It is necessary for defining own aspirations and also understand what are our country level aspirations, commitments, and milestones around the carbon emissions. Top management buy-in is a must for the institutionalization, as I've mentioned, even in case of Tata Power. So it is absolutely must for decarbonization-led business strategy and its deployment. A robust sustainability governance structure also needs to be institutionalized for endorsement of the climate strategy. Through this, direction setting is achieved and the message gets percolated deep down to the grassroots level of the organization and across all levels of deployment, integration, and learning. It is also important to develop a climate commitment with deployment framework. As I mentioned to you, Tata Power's climate commitment is to be carbon neutral by 2050. You could have your own carbon commitment agenda. It could be 2040, it could be 2060, but it is important that it is there as it serves as a uniform communication methodology for deployment across the business. Gather insights on environmental, social, and governance-related material issues that are considered important to business, given their influence on business and stakeholders and their ability to create sustainable value. It will also be important to create an action plan for all your material issues identified. Address them in short term and long term. Very important action plan which any company can actually deploy and gain quick benefits, or what we call as low-hanging fruits, is save energy to reduce carbon footprint. Do not waste energy in your business and look at saving it and look at reducing carbon footprint through that method. Measure your carbon footprint till the last mile, upstream as well as downstream, simply because what gets measured will always get managed by the organization. Ensure responsible production and consumption patterns, circular waste, circular water streams for cost reduction, and less dependence on natural resources. Contribute towards creation of carbon sinks through afforestation drives. And these afforestation drives can be in your own campus or in your own offices or even outside where you have common afforestation drives happening. But it's also important to take care of the survival rates for these plants. Engage with stakeholders and make them part of your journey. Motivate employees to practice sustainability through participating in in-house programs and volunteering drives, which enable sustainable impact on the environment and also help them to understand the importance of leading by example. focus on innovation, leading to low carbon economy in the respective sector, and improve upon customer low carbon offerings wherever feasible. Constantly benchmarking with peers and sector leaders help to learn their best practices on low carbon economy and keep abreast of global changes. Learning and sharing in this important area where we all can make a difference is absolutely and most important. Strategic partnerships with international organizations like UN organizations, UNFCCC, UNDP, United Nations Sustainability Goals, all of these help us align with global thought leadership in climate action. These days, as we all see, investors are increasingly discerning towards climate action and seek comprehensive ESG disclosures from responsible companies. So being transparent is also very, very desirable. To sum it up, I would like to stress on the fact that sustainability has permeated all levels from boardroom to grassroots, and its effectiveness will determine the future of doing business. In many ways, by being sustainable, we are future-proofing our business. But this is not possible without stakeholders. So together with all stakeholders, business can drive the change, constantly raising the bar in driving low carbon economy, such that the future generations will stand to benefit. Enabling every business to be future ready and future proofing it is the key agenda of sustainability. It is therefore an appeal to peer companies, millennials, and society at large to change their outlook on casual living and change gears to sustainable living and contribute their bit. Thank you.
Shalini, we have a question for you about your thoughts on the challenge for mitigating waste through more scientific and sustainable approaches than they are now. Maybe you want to share what Tata Power is doing, because in your industry there are specific wastes which can be from which value can be generated. So maybe some examples.
So I did touch upon circular water and waste practices, which are very prevalent in India, and cement industry is a very good example of that. They actually use all waste to generate cement. So there cannot be a better example than that. But yes, even for Tata Power, one of the waste like fly ash is completely utilized in brick making, and also given to a lot of cement industries, which in turn gets utilized and generates a product. The idea is not to pollute the environment. But just because this question came, one of the things where India does not have line of sight, and we have to be careful about waste, is the e-waste. And I think, in Tata Power now we are focusing in a big way on how do we take care of e-waste in a responsible manner, and that is the next big thing that we as a country, specifically because we have so many software companies and IT industry which is full of this mandate, is where we need to focus our energy and even look at circular e-waste models for the country. So yes, it's a need of the hour, and many of us have been able to address it in our own spaces.
Thank you. Thanks, Chandna. There are plenty of questions. So, I'm scrolling down and seeing, lots of comments as well. So Pradeep says that, Harish says that low carbon economy is the buzz today. We all know that it carries extra tag on it, and we are not prepared for it yet. There's a question from him that, can you please give us some information on Tata Power's unique benchmarking program on participatory groundwater management and its impact on the stakeholders living around it?
Yeah. So Tata Power has this unique program under CSR on participatory groundwater management, which we started the journey almost 3.5 years ago, and we are very and this is actually in Mahindra, Gujarat, which is an arid region, and had huge water table issues. So the community CSR team, which is very capably led by our a few of our very good CSR people who got together with IT Gandhinagar. It was a complete partnership model where they have been able to address this issue in 19 villages and have been able to recharge the water table. And I always believe in results. And the results of that is that for the last 2 years, that region has seen great rainfall. And the benefits have been to the 19 villages, which is primary. But we also see a positive impact on the water table for almost close to 23 other neighboring villages. This model is now being replicated in many other parts of Gujarat, and also we Tata Power have replicated it in Jharkhand, Maithan, seeing the benefit of this largely for the groundwater recharging.
Great, thank you, Shalini. We've got to be mindful of time, but these were such useful talks. They were great talks, but also so useful. We would be doing our best to propagate these two talks into the industry so more people can learn about, how to transform your business model gradually, keeping in mind all stakeholders and what you are doing, Shalini. And Niyal, great roadmap from you on how to have an internal carbon pricing system so that you can fund some of these sustainability actions. It's nice to talk about these, but then where will the money come from? And especially, I think your talk is even more relevant today when we can see that the profitability is decreasing in many Indian companies. So even more, pertinent today. So thank you so much, both of you, and hope to stay in touch. Thank you.